Welcome back, Club 602 on YouTube. This is Yelling and Screaming, our NFL show. I'm here with my wonderful co host, Sean. Sean, what's up?
What's going on? How's it going? How's it going, people?
Good week of football. Hopefully, we got another one on deck here. NFL week 14. For some reason, there's bye weeks, but here we are.
Well, if you're a team like the Chiefs, I think it was Chris Jones, if I'm not mistaken, who was talking about how there's no reason to have a week 4 bye week. It's pointless. If you just started your season, what do you need that for? And I'm inclined to agree with him. I mean, I'd much rather teams have, more central or later bye weeks to really help out their season. Of week 4 bye week doesn't really help you with anything except for if you have an early injury.
Give me 19 weeks, give me two buys, whatever makes NFL last year round.
And hold on, if we do 19 weeks with the current schedule, add in a second bye later on, I think what we should do is two things. One, that last week that puts you at President's Day weekend, which is perfect for the Super Bowl, because then you everybody already has Monday off, so that's plus number one. Number two is if you're going to have a if you're going to have a second bye, I think that when people have their bye week, that they should have to play their schedule should match that time frame. So if you've got the bye, you should be playing the Thursday game for the next week. If you've got the bye, you could play the Monday game for the previous week or whatever the case is. So instead of
Yeah.
you having a Sunday game and then a bye week and then not having another game till Sunday, you shorten that schedule up a little bit. Still gives them a nice little break, but it makes it so that is more of a significant scheduling. And then if you're playing on the Monday, you go into the bye, you play on Thursday. That means you got a long break after that till you play the following Sunday. And then that means that if you played on Monday, you had a long break from the previous Sunday. So it just kind of can help definitely with some of those injuries and some of the rest that these guys are talking about getting if they can do it like that.
Yeah, and I understand player fatigue and player safety. You know me, I'm a man of the people. I absolutely agree with the players that if we go to this many games, we need to go back to like 8 playoff teams because there's too many teams to make the playoffs in the NFL. It's absurd. It's like baseball.
I really don't necessarily feel the same way about that. I think it's enough teams that make the playoffs in the NFL, given the fact that we want to. What do we have, like 3 weeks of playoffs, and then the Super Bowl? I'll
Wild
take that.
card, divisional, conference. Yeah, yeah.
3 weeks of playoffs and then the Super Bowl. I'm good with that. I don't know. I think for a few extra games, really, really does help the fan base out because if we only went back to 8 teams, then that cuts into that. I want another regular season game. I don't want to necessarily have less playoff going on. I want more football, sir. More football all the time.
But there's more football, and then there's a game we have this week that usually is a Thursday night special, but like Jaguars Titans, no one wants that. Jaguars fans don't want that. Titans season ticket holders can't even sell their tickets. Like no one wants the trash football.
I think that
Fewer
there's a
teams.
place for it. There's a place for it. You do realize that you need to have bad football to appreciate what good football looks like, right?
We will still have the Canadian
Otherwise, it would
Football
be
League.
Madden rookie. It would be Madden rookie. If it was all good football, which I mean, what you constitute as good football is that good defense, is that good offense, is that heavy turnovers. Like what are you constituting for good football? Is it that the defense is one side is significantly better than the other, or is it both teams not being good is the problem? Because this
Yeah, I
Jags
mean,
Titan game, I don't see it being high scoring, but I mean, either one. Well, either one of these teams can put up 21 points. Either one of these
uh,
teams can fumble and give me some fun plays. Love
I mean,
that.
let's talk it right now. New look
Let's do it.
Will Levis. His girlfriend dumped him. He is no longer dating the leftovers from Bachelor Nation. And wow, he looks great. I think he's going to outduel McCorkle in this one.
I
And
think he
give
needed
me the
it.
Titans. Give me the
I
Titans
think he
beat the
needed it.
Jags.
I actually can agree with you on that. I think it's the Titans' time right here. The Jags, without Sunshine, you're right. They looked a little bit better, and probably because they weren't. I still don't understand why he got that contract. I really don't. The NFL to me is the only league where you reward mediocrity, heavily rewarding mediocrity.
When none of the money's real, you just kind of got to do what everybody else is doing, like Daniel Jones, who got a similar contract for doing absolutely nothing. When the money's not real and it really doesn't matter, and there's ways to manipulate the salary cap, you got to do what everybody else is doing. So if you have a quarterback who you think might win 10 games over the next season, yeah, why not throw all the money at him? Because it's not real anyway. These owners are just printing money. It's not going back to the fans. It's not reducing ticket prices. Might as well spend it.
I mean, it's disgusting. As a true fan, I really, really, really feel that it really doesn't work out for anybody who actually is a purist of the sport. And then you look at people like, the front office of the Giants talking about how they don't want to get a $40 million quarterback handing off to a $12 million running back. Well, guess what? That $12 million running back is on pace right now to have easily his best career season, and a team that looks really dangerous in a division that really isn't the strongest in football. And meanwhile, you guys are looking like the clowns, and your $40 million quarterback you just cut. So was he even worth? He wasn't worth $40 million, and the guy that you let go was the guy you should have kept. So obviously, I can't really see what they're seeing in these guys, because he won what? He had one playoff win, Daniel Jones, and in a season that they didn't even win, in a season that they barely made the playoffs. Like they were like the number 7. Like, get out of here. Just stop doing it for me.
Well, week 14 loaded with conversations like that, where there's a lot of really bad teams playing some teams that are good or are at least significantly better than their opponent. Thursday Night Football, not one of those. This actually could be a pretty marquee matchup. And, I am pretty critical of quarterbacks when they play like absolute horse shit. So I'm going to give Jordan Love some props here. Jordan Love, 21 of 28, 274, 2 touchdowns last week. He looked like a serviceable NFL quarterback. So I wanted to call that out because I've been very critical of him. This Lions defense is going to pick him apart. He's going to spend more time on his back than he's going to be spending on the field. The Lions win this game going away from me. The only wrinkle is it's Thursday and weird stuff happens on Thursdays.
Dolphins defense is not a good defense. Let's be real with that. And Jordan Love playing against, don't get me wrong. This was this past week, Jordan Love and the Packers played against a Dolphins team that I did not expect to really do very well. As no one expects ever to do it in the cold. We'll get to that point. But he looked good. I'm still not sold on him. I guess Packer Nation, you guys are excited because he's getting the wins for you. But I'm still not sold on him. He had a good week this week. He played against a terrible defense that's playing in the cold. Good luck against a Lions defense that is accustomed to playing well and accustomed to not having quarterbacks do what he just did, which is throw accurately and throw to the guys you want to. They're going to have a better secondary. Reed is not getting 2 touchdowns. Realistically, Jordan Love played up early and then just got the ride out the rest of this game. When your opponents don't score until the third quarter, they score 1 touchdown in the third, 1 touchdown in the fourth, and you're already up by 20. You're up 24 points. You're much less concerned about what's going on. You get to play free. You get to be relaxed, and you're not worried about what's going on, and that usually works to your benefit. So, I still say the Packers take an L in this game against the Lions, but we'll see how this week plays out. It should be a good game though. Thursday Night Football.
Jets Dolphins, kind of alluded to the Dolphins with that Packers preview. In my opinion, Tua beat the snow game narrative. Put up the numbers, had a good quarterback game. Understand the context. Understand they were chasing. But he did it. At the end of the day, he threw for 365 and 2 touchdowns. And the narrative coming in was, Tua can't play in the snow. Well, Tua played.
Mm-hmm.
This Dolphins team sucks as a whole. It's not just Tua. So, like for me, seeing what he was able to do in the cold, I want them to retire that stupid, tired narrative because it's not real. It's not the NFL. The Dolphins suck. That should have been the narrative all week. The Dolphins defense is suspect. And maybe they can't play in the snow, but all the NFL players can play snow games. It's not a real thing. I have yet to see like a real stat pack that shows me that like a team or a player that can't play in the snow. It's the friggin' NFL.
I don't know. I mean, Tua was able to play in the snow this week. All right, maybe not wearing the Guardian helmet and having his brain rattled around a few times got him a chance to got him where he needs to be as far as being able to throw in the snow. Team still didn't win.
Concussion has fixed his snow blindness.
Maybe it did. Maybe he can see a little bit more clearly with all that white, or maybe this was a fluke. Realistically, whether or not he can play in the snow, the team can't win in the snow, and that's much more important. Tua throwing for 365 yards and 2 touchdowns is a great stat when you look at the end of the game. But having 3 points in the first half and you're down 24-3, you got to be throwing anyway. All you can do is throw. I mean, their team couldn't run the ball to save their life, but they had to throw regardless because they were down by so much. So, like, to me, that's garbage time. Realistically, to me, that's garbage time. He's probably not playing against their best defensive players at that point, because if you're up 27 to 3, 27 to 6, whatever it is, they score 1 touchdown in the third quarter. Whoop de fucking do. They get 6 points in the fourth. Whoop de do. Like, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't say anything about the Packers that to me that he threw for 365. It doesn't. It says a lot more about the fact that they were down by so much that he had to throw. And he hit a lot of receivers too. I'll give that some love. But at the end of the day, realistically, they need to be able to win, and they'll have a chance this week against the Jets because the Jets are also terrible. This week, the Jets actually didn't play as poorly as we'd normally expect them to, but they still lost. And at the end of the day, they're not a team that's on the up right now. So a 3-9 Jets team against a 5-7 Dolphins team in Miami with that sun in your eyes, I'll take the Dolphins. Tua's feeling good right now, and the Jets are really, really, really in shambles.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The Jets are just awful. The Dolphins are 6-point favorites in this game. That feels excessive to me, but then you look at the Jets and it's like, yeah, that's probably fine. Falcons, Vikings. This Falcons team, Sean, I had high hopes for. And I think what we're seeing is that maybe besides Drake London and Cousins, this team kind of sucks.
Give Bijan some love. All right. He went for 108, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right.
Give him a little bit of love.
Kyle Pitts ain't it. I'll tell you that.
He's not it. You know what? Here's my thought though, right? I think Kyle Pitts has the talent, skill set to be able to be a good, solid receiving tight end. He's not in a system, in a place where that's going to happen. So he needs to go somewhere else. He's like Jimmy Graham, right? I wasn't looking at Jimmy Graham and going, man, he's going to be my best blocking tight end. But he had a very good career in a couple of different places, and he was a successful tight end. That's what I see for Kyle Pitts. I think that right now where he's at, they need a blocking tight end who can receive, because that'll help them out on the line and be able to get Cousins a little more time back there and be able to open it up a little bit for Bijan.
Yeah, I mean, his thing was he was a magnificent route runner, and that seems to have evaporated. And like at this point in his career, it's early, right? But he's getting older, and the returns have been very consistent. I think his upside is Cole Kmet. I mean, the guy can't block, can't run routes, or like hype for no reason. I just don't understand it. But I think in this one, the Vikings should win this game. But what I want to see is the NFC South is still very much in play. If Cousins has an off game, these guys need to perform without him. They need to be able to carry 20 points in a game.
Yep.
Not being able to score 20 points without Cousins being dialed in, it's unacceptable. I mean, the defense
you can't win games like that
good.
in the NFL.
Yeah, the defense is too good for the offense not to bail them out in a game like that. So that's what I'm going to be looking for is like Cousins bounce back, sure, but what do all the individual pieces look like? Because they didn't look good.
No, I agree with that. And on top of that, the last couple L's have been tough loss to the Saints, tough loss to the Chargers, blowout by the Broncos. So I mean, they really don't have any leeway here at the end of the season. They got the Raiders, the Giants, the Panthers coming up in their last 5. I think that the Commanders and Vikings are 2 games that I don't expect them to win. But if they can win the other 3, maybe you can squeak out that division, especially since it's really not the strongest division. It's definitely the weakest division in football right now.
Yeah.
You got nobody above 500. So it's definitely not the strongest division. You can win this division with the 9-win team, in my opinion.
Speaking of that shitty division, Saints and Giants, we really don't have to waste a whole lot of time here. Saints are still technically alive,
which is crazy because they have 4 wins and they are technically still alive because the rest of the division is so weak. But again, if you're a Saints team and you can win out, or at least win the majority of your games, if they somehow went on a run and won 9 games, or got to 8 and 9, and was still able to challenge in that division, it's very possible. So they just need to win any games they can. The Giants are trash. We all know that. The front office is trash. Their O-line is trash. Their receivers their receivers. I mean, they can't get the ball to them. So what's the point? It's at the end of the day, like, they're on their third string quarterback. So yeah,
I mean, when you can't even beat the Vikings or the Cowboys, rather. I mean, there's something going on there, and like Neighbors has all the physical gifts in the world, but he's not a leader, and he's a rookie on top of that. So like, I don't. There's nobody left on this team. He's a receiver.
You need non-skill position players to truly be the anchors of your team, and you should not be relying on a fucking rookie wide receiver to be a rookie wide receiver. By the way, who went to LSU? You cannot rely on a Bayou boy, a rookie wide receiver Bayou boy, to come and be the leader on your team. You got to have somebody in there who's a veteran, somebody who's anchoring that offense or defense. I would try to rely on one of those defensive anchor guys. Realistically, the Giants' defense isn't the worst defense in the NFL. It's not. That probably goes to the Bengals, but they are definitely missing a lot of pieces in order to be a successful team. So, this should be a Saints win. But Taysom Hill might not be in this week, if I'm not mistaken. So
don't matter.
It makes the game interesting. That's all I can think of.
I can't think of a single LSU player in the NFL who I would consider a leader of his team or of men.
Oh, that's
Panthers,
tough.
Panthers, Eagles.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, that was a Burrow shot. That was a shot across the bow. It
is, but you know what? We'll get to him, and I am in agreement. Cutting your hair doesn't do you any good.
Shit. Sean, I have essentially nothing on this one. Saquon's going to win the MVP. The Panthers suck. Give me Eagles by 14.
And that is my opinion as well. This man is running like a madman. And he's literally showing the Giants in the NFL why it is very, very, very important, him and a few other guys too, but why it is very, very important to have a good running back and why they matter.
Browns Steelers, man, Russ still has it. He's old. He gets some shit. He's raising future's kids, but the man can still sling it when called upon. I think this might be my favorite quarterback matchup of the week, which is a crazy thing to say. But this is a game I'm looking forward to.
It's not, though. And I'll tell you right now, I'm actually excited with you to see a resurging Russ, and then to see the joy on Jameis Winston's face every week to just go out there and play football. And to see him not just go out there and play football, but actually play well. He's the only person in the NFL to ever have a 30-30 season. And that was when the man couldn't even see. As a Raiders fan, not going to lie, there are plenty of guys out there in the NFL that they looked at as backup quarterbacks and said, you know what, this guy might be a starter. He could use a shot. If I'm the Raiders, I think we stack up on that O-line this year, and we snab Winston. He's still got the arm. He's still got the drive. He's got some quickness in his legs. He's what Deshaun Watson was supposed to be there. Realistically, he's what Deshaun Watson was supposed to be there. And so to watch him continue to go out there and play football as if he's a young guy, as if he, I would rather have him than any of the guys I got on my team right now at quarterback, and a lot of other guys in the NFL who are starters. Realistically,
Yeah, like half the league, probably.
at least half the
D-
league.
just the energy he brings. This is definitely one that'll be on TV for me. I did not appreciate how on the broadcast they were trying to give all the credit to like everyone but Winston. You know, they were trying to give a lot of the credit to Sean Payton, which is fair from a system standpoint, but like not once was they like, oh yeah, he was blind as shit. And he was
They're never
better
going to
than
bring
the
that up.
quarterbacks in the league. They should. I mean, it is the reason that he is able to perform the way he is. The man can literally see. Now, the only thing that would have made Winston cooler in my book is if he never got the LASIK and he played in rec specs.
Oh, that would have been badass. But no, I like the love that he gets for the LASIK. It's crazy though. I looked at a list of quarterbacks that have thrown for 5,000 yards in the NFL, and it's all Hall of Famers or guys who should be future Hall of Famers, and Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely
crazy to see that and see that he has that pedigree and just has not really gotten the appreciation for his skill set to be able to go and play and be in an organization that can really cultivate that. Saints he had a chance-ish. Tampa Bay wasn't really at that point yet when he was there. You know, he played tough at Tampa Bay, but they really weren't at that point. Now he's getting a chance, and I think he's going to make the best of that chance. Next year, you're probably going to see him as a starter for one of the teams in the NFL that does not have a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at the Saints front office, and I'm not gonna do them any favors. I mean, they screwed up. Andy Dalton sucks. I know you're not going to agree with me on this, but Derek Carr sucks. The quarterbacks they've drafted suck. Winston should have been the quarterback when he got back from injury 2 seasons ago. He should have been the quarterback last year, and he should probably be the Saints quarterback this year. And if they had done that, not only would they have won their shitty division 3 years in a row, but they'd be doing it on a cheap quarterback contract, and they'd have more money to spend on skilled players that don't get hurt so goddamn much. Saints playing with the little sisters of the poor out there at wide receiver.
You're not wrong. I mean, they've had a nice pedigree of wide receivers come over the years, but they also had Drew Brees thrown to them. So, I think it says a lot more about Drew Brees as a quarterback than it does necessarily to the pedigree of all their receivers. Yeah, but with that being said, at the end of the day, you got to win the games with the team that you got. So,
pirate fight down in Tampa, Raiders Bucks. I got nothing. Go ahead.
I got Raiders tanking, and I need them to stack that O-line next year. I don't care if you trade back. Give me some guys that can protect my quarterback. Our skill players. I mean, shout out to my guy Brock Bowers, who is having a hell of a rookie campaign right now with random people throwing to him at this point. But realistically, the Raiders have had some good skill players over the past few years. A couple guys that are even Pro Bowlers. You let go of a Josh Jacobs. You let Amari Cooper Coop go. Like there's other guys that they've had the chance to really get. Devontae, he's gone. Like, they've had good guys at the skill positions on offense. When they had a good offensive line, which was the 1 year that Carr was there, that they were actually top of that division, playoff team. And then he gets injured, obviously, and we had those issues with the playoffs. But that was the best year we had an offensive line. So we need to get back to that. You do that, you win football games. Bucks, obviously, they need to. Oh, go ahead.
So here's a question for you. Brock Bowers, awesome season. You can't take anything away from the kid. If there is a single NFL player at wide receiver or running back for the Raiders, what does it do to Bowers in your eyes?
I don't think it does anything. I think he still it can be that number one target. He's got the skill set to do so. I know he was very heavily relied upon, obviously, because they really they just didn't feel comfortable with the other receivers. They got random guys out there who played for a couple of years, but none of them are number one, number twos. They're really number 3 and number 4 guys on most teams. But he's just shown in this rookie campaign that he has the skill set. He's got the hands. He's a very good possession receiver, and he's a guy that we can be relying upon. I would love to have seen Devontae here with him, with a quarterback who could get the ball to either one of them. That would have been crazy. Looking right now, too, we don't have a running back. I mean, Zamir White was our starter for for listing a depth chart for most of the season, and now I can't even tell you who the starter is. Amir Abdullah, I think, was the starter, and somebody else is random in there now. So I mean, realistically, there's other issues on offense, offensive line. Really, they don't have a good receiver core. There are a lot of things to work on, but it starts for me with getting the O line together. O line gives you a chance to do running back by committee, protects your quarterback, and allows your receivers routes to develop and develop that chemistry with your quarterback. So that's my go-to. Bucks should win this game.
I will say the best running back on your team is probably Sincere McCormick.
Yeah,
out of UTSA. Go Roadrunners. And that's wild. That's a wild thing to say out loud.
I mean, hey, give the kid a shot. All right. I don't give a damn. At this point, give him a shot. Let us see what he's got. Let us see if he's worth keeping around or dropping for a practice squad guy. Because at this point, they're either practice squad guys or they're Raiders starters, and at this point, there's really not much of a difference. So, let's see what the kid's got.
We beat Jags Titans to death. I'll take a beat here to tell you if you're in the Arizona Valley tomorrow, Wednesday night, Pong at the Guadalupe on Main. We've all been Pong players for a long time. This is the first official Club 602 Pong event in the Valley of the Sun. Free to play, great prizes, great food. Come on in. This is at the Guadalupe on Main. Find it on Instagram. Now, Seahawks Cardinals. This game is huge for the division. Cardinals should not be coming off a loss. However, they are. This might be my game of the week, but I'll let you talk about it, and then we can get in a bigger debate about what the actual game of the week is.
No, in all honesty, though, it's funny when I look at the 6 and 6s I look at the divisions and I look at the NFC West, and I'm like, honestly, I don't feel the same way nearly about the NFC West as I do about the NFC South, and there really isn't very much difference in their records, but the caliber of football that is being played, the tight losses in the games, and the overall just fun to watch, aspects of football is what I'm getting from the NFC West. It feels like a division that's very much a lot of parity, as opposed to the South, which looks like it's more of a division in shambles. Just teams still trying to find themselves. I think all these teams are just good mid-tier teams right now who are just trying to get that extra edge up to really put themselves in that playoff picture and really boost themselves to the top of the NFL. But the Niners are the worst team in this division with 5 wins. And they have an abysmal offense right now. Their team is not doing anything. And yet you got a Rams team and a Cardinals team at 6 and 6. And you see the Seahawks sitting at 7 and 5. And you're like, whoa, this is tight. This is anybody's division at this point. I like the Cards in this game, especially since they're at home. But the Seahawks, man, every week I'm just like, are they going to put up 30 points? Are they going to give me 17? Are they going to, what's going to happen in this game? I get excited when I watch the Seahawks play, and I think the same thing with the Cards. So I'm honestly, I'm going to enjoy this game. For me, it's a push at this point, but I think that the Cards should take the edge. Love Trey McBride and what he's doing over there. Just that tight end play, and Connors is still doing a great job at running back. So at the end of the day, he got paid. He deserved to be paid, though. He's been playing very well. So at the end of the day, I think I'd take the Cards in a slight edge in this game.
Yeah, Vegas has them 2.5. I think I'm on the Cardinals side as well. I mean, you spoke about the division, and yeah, it's crazy. The 49ers suck, and a lot of it's injuries. They're 2 games back. They're 2 games out of first place in this division. They're so tightly packed in there. Only one team's getting out. And I think that's why this game is so appealing to me. Winners still got a long way to go, but you win a game inside the division, that goes a long way. So for me, this might be
winner takes the lead.
Well, hyperbole for sure, but if the Cardinals lose this game, that might be it. Every single one of these division games from here on out might be the one where it's just we're kind of done, And the Niners, we'll get to them in a minute, but they're right there, and they are still the class of this division when healthy. So you have to be winning these games right now to put that distance in between you and them. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there at 7-9 and 8,
And
8
looking
and
out,
8
yeah.
going into your last game, and the 49ers are going to be right there.
I think that the Cardinals have the best chance of winning just based on the strength of schedule. In their last 5, they got the Patriots and the Panthers in a row, and then they got Rams, and they close out. They got at Rams, and they close out at home versus the Niners. So they got probably, as far as strength of schedule, I think the best chance of really closing out the division. But at the end of the day, you got to play every week. I mean, if you are the Rams, you're not happy about with the position that you're in, and you got to win some tough games coming up against the Bills, and you got to play the Cardinals and the Seahawks again to close out. You got 3 divisional games in your last 5, so that could really be make or break right there. You got to win You got to win those games. You got to win as many as you can to really stick to it. But it's going to be it's a tough division, and it gives me hope that there's parity in some of these divisions and not just teams, every year coming in and blowing everybody out. I really like to see that in football. If every single team was 9-8 or 8-9, that would be insane. That would probably, 10-7, 7-10. Like, that would be a true testament to the parity of the game, because you've got any given Sunday, either team can take the win.
Bears fans would love that, because then they'd be guaranteed to have 5 more wins than they have most years.
One thing I do lose.
Yeah, one thing I do really love over the last, I think it's almost been a decade at this point, but the NFL is scheduling those division games late in the year, so that you can't kind of rest on your laurels. Week 16, week 17, week 18, you are playing games that matter. You're playing games that will determine your seeding directly, and I think it's been good for the game.
I agree with that. Definitely makes it more interesting, keeps people engaged, no fluff. And even when teams aren't as good, they get to play, spoiler for whoever else is in that division. So it's always cool to watch now with the new scheduling. I like that. And more importantly, they also not only put those games at the end of the season now to make it more interesting, but they also flex the scheduling at the end of the season to prioritize the games that are going to have the most impact, which I genuinely appreciate, because you are right. I do not want to see a Patriots Jets game in prime time in fucking week 17, week 18. That would be a waste of my time.
Bills Rams. Sean, this game is making me uncomfortable. This feels like one of those games where Josh Allen has like 2 fumbles and a pick, and the kicker misses a field goal, and the Rams like steal a game against the Bills here. I think the MVP is Josh Allen's to lose, but there's just like this tickle at the back of my brain that like this is the game he loses it.
Well, I definitely think that it's Saquon's to lose, because there's nobody that's stopping that man right now, realistically. Josh Allen has had some phenomenal games. He's also had a couple of games that were a little iffy. But realistically, he's played great football this year. And in all honesty, playing after last week where he could do no wrong, I mean, the man got credited with he's the first player in NFL history, if I'm not mistaken, not just quarterback, but player, to be credited with a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in the same game. Phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. If he gets a hangover from that this week, and the Rams are able to take this one away from him, that obviously helps the Ram out when we were talking about the division, which is so tight. But then it's kind of funny because we were always right now the Chiefs have the number 1 seed locked up. Thus they get I don't expect that they're gonna lose any more games, but they got some divisional games coming up, and you never really know on those. But if they do that and the Bills win out, I mean, there you go. And that would actually be really, really big, because then that moves that divisional game, that conference championship, to Buffalo instead of being in Kansas City. And that rivalry, if they get to that point, it's going to be insane. Having that game be in Buffalo would make it a whole lot different than having it in Kansas City. So I think this game is the Bills to lose. And I agree with you. Josh Allen has, I'd say he's my number 2 guy right now as far as MVP goes, having a hell of a season. Behind Saquon, because the man can't be stopped. So,
yeah, Vegas has this 4.5 Bills, and it's just, I'm just very uncomfortable with this game. The Bills will be my pick. I'm not going to touch it with my money. And I'm going to be watching this one through my hands like a horror movie because just something feels wrong here. And I don't know exactly what it is.
Coming cross country, playing in not playing in the elements, just playing in a boring temperature regulated or relaxed environment. It's not regulated because it's a dome, but it's open air. But still, no air conditioning. Just hanging out in 75, 80-degree weather in LA. Maybe that's too relaxed for Josh Allen. Maybe he's not prepared for that. Maybe he gets the sun in his eyes, that Sunshine State sun. Maybe he drops the ball a few times. Who's to say?
Speaking of dropping the ball, Bears 49ers. Why would you bring back Christian McCaffrey? I understand he hurt the knee. He has weak legs. I don't understand why you thought this was a good idea when you have no wide receivers, you have no quarterback, your line play has been suspect because nobody has to respect the pass. I don't know why you do this. And now I'm looking at his injuries. I'm looking at his incurable lower body injury, not even the knee. And I don't think it's crazy anymore to think that maybe Christian McCaffrey just walks away.
I don't see that he's going to walk away. I mean, even with the injuries, he's still a dynamic player. I think that he would have to have, first off, he's going to have an offseason where he just rests and recovers his body. Maybe he goes to he needs to go to the mountains of Puerto Rico and get himself in some nice fresh air, and get out of that California smog that he's got up there in San Francisco, and really get back to healing his body, because he's still a very dynamic player in the NFL, playing in an offense that has really realistically been in shambles all season. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. I think at some, who's the number one receiver is Juwan Jennings this season, I believe, and that's off of not the most incredible performances over the whole season, but just the fact that he's the only guy getting the ball. And I just think that Christian McCaffrey's not done. I think that he takes some time this offseason and rests up. I'd love to see the Bears get a win in this game. I'd like to see both teams, though, at the end of the day, put forth a good offensive and defensive game where it's not a lot of turnovers and not some silly mistakes. If you can get a clean game from Purdy or a clean game from Caleb, it really bodes well for what you want the future of the team to be. This is really an off season for the Niners. They are a very well coached team. I'm sure their front office will go back and go and really look at this and go, yeah, this isn't us. We're going to get back to good football. And return to that. I can see that next year. But I think it's more of a testament for the Bears to really be like, we are a team in the NFC that's a lot stronger than people giving us credit for right now. And we're going to be a match next season in our own division, because they got to beat their own division first. But we're going to be a formidable team in the years to come. And there's some older guys at quarterback in their division. So, who's to say they won't be there in the next couple of years?
I am on record frequently and often as hating kickers. I understand that missed kicks change game flow, and it's not as simple as this, but the Bears have lost 3 games in a row because they have a shitty kicker. That's unacceptable when you have a coach who is doing a pretty good job and a bunch of young players who need to build on successes. A kicker should not be the reason you're in last place in your division and looking up at the rest of the league when they've played as well as they have, especially on defense. This Bears defense all year has done nothing but prop up an offense that is not NFL ready, and they are rewarded by a horrifically bad kicker with a horrific pedigree, missing easy kicks. Unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable to me. Cut him, sign literally anyone off the street. 49ers have been doing it, and they haven't lost because of their kicker. They lost because of 90 injuries. But kickers are interchangeable. You even look at a guy like goddamn, what's his name for the Ravens? Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker. Whoa. I will say this. Hold
he's
on. Wait.
horrific. He's
We're
erased a Hall of Fame career.
I am not disagreeing with you on the significance of kickers in this, especially in this past season. We're seeing so many games being decided with that, either missed kicks or or block kicks or things like that happening late on. But I want to just say something. The Bills also missed a kick this week. The 49ers missed 2 kicks this past week. They made all the extra points, but they have been missed kicks. I don't think that kickers are interchangeable. I definitely don't. I definitely think that there are guys who you definitely want to have. And we all know the names of most of those kickers, right? You know who the fuck Adam Vinatieri is. That man won Super Bowls. One.
It's the exception.
Steve Vanderjagt. You've got, what do you mean it's the exception? I can name 5, 6, 7 kickers. Harrison Butker is a very accurate kicker.
Over the last 30 years. Those are the only ones worth remembering. Janikowski was great. Who kicked for you might know who kicked for the Raiders after Janikowski?
After Carlson?
I don't know, but Carlson sucked. But I mean that's my thing, right? After Vinatieri, who? Like the guys who are legends.
Gostowski.
Sure.
Elam. There's some really good kickers out there over the
all the way back to 1998.
Hey, you said 30 years, bro. I didn't go back 30. I went back 20, 27.
Okay. But the point is there's been 10 kickers worth of damn in 3 decades.
Tucker's whole career has been solid. Robbie Gould had a long and good career.
What's Tucker going to be remembered for?
For being the most accurate kicker in NFL history. That's what he's going to be remembered for.
Unless he plays one more year, and then he won't be the most accurate kicker anymore because the dude is missing easy shit.
He is really not doing it this year, in all honesty, which is crazy because if you look at the guys, his team, the players on his team in skill positions have gotten better, but he's gotten worse. I can agree with that. You know what, though? Guys like Brandon McManus, terrible first season, left, got cut halfway through, came back, significantly better. Right? You can have an off season. An off season, by the way, for a kicker is making 75 to 80% of his kicks. That's an off season for an NFL kicker. That's under pressure, in games, in different weather and conditions. I mean, that's it's not great, but it's manageable. I don't think kickers are interchangeable. I definitely think that having a reliable kicker is something that teams are really, really, really looking for. And I agree with you. I just think that you can't just sign anybody off the street. But I think that there are guys right now who don't have a job that are more accurate than some of the guys that I've seen in this past season.
Less kicks, more punts. Give me punts. I want punters.
You want punters? Hey, I love the punters. Shout out to the Raiders punters. They've had some good ones. Marquette King, my guy Shane Leckler. They've had some solid punters over there.
Good. All right. Sunday Night Football. Chargers, Chiefs.
This game matters, man.
This is so much. I don't think this is going to be a competitive game. At some point, the Chiefs have to turn it on, right? Like it has to be coming. And this is a Chargers team that barely beat the Falcons when the Falcons are at their worst. And it's like, if Patrick Mahomes wakes up, or if at some point they have a running back who's NFL ready, like the Chiefs are just going to turn it on one day and score 50 points. And the next time they're going to lose is going to be in the preseason.
I mean, I can't argue with that. They did sneak away with one of the most controversial plays that I've seen at the end of a game. And everybody's going to talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs have just become the Patriots, right? They've won so much and they've won convincingly over the past, 4, 5, 6 years that you've got to the point where if they don't win by 20 points, then you're like, well, what the hell? This is bullshit. Or anything you can argue with. Every single play, every single call that the refs make, you start arguing with. But I am not happy about this shit, all right? Calling a play that should have been a false start, and with the team in field goal position with less than a minute left in the game, and then you call it as a never mind, it's a illegal shift or whatever the hell they called, and then it's a fumble recovered by the defense, is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. So Chiefs snuck away with another win there. I can't blame the Chiefs. They didn't make the call. I'm over that sentiment that the Chiefs are cheating. The Chiefs are cheating. At the end of the day, they don't make the calls. It is the officials' job to make the calls. So shame on you, officials, for making a very terrible call. With that being said, Chargers also snuck away with the win against a bad Falcons team, or a mediocre Falcons team at best. And the Chiefs defense is going to be significantly better than what they've seen. So I definitely expect the Chiefs to hold the Chargers to 17 max and score more than 17. So if they actually, Chiefs literally scored the exact same amount as this past week and win again.
Yeah, we've really missed the opportunity to dethrone this Chiefs team. It's up to Josh Allen. It's up to Josh Allen to stop them from going back to back to back. I mean, I don't think there's an NFC team in the Super Bowl who can beat this Chiefs team if they get rolling. So let's not get to that point. Josh Allen needs to put a stop to this crap.
Well, he's got some growing to do. All right, he's got to get to that big game. It's his year. It's his time.
We were given a great week 14, and the gods over at ESPN, they're like, hey, Monday Night Football's a thing. How about we put a cap on this great week by giving you Bengals Cowboys? I wrote in my notes here, Sean, Bengals by 25. And the more I thought about this would be a good Cowboys win, wouldn't it? Just because the season makes no sense and nothing matters.
So I could see the Cowboys winning this game, but not a good Cowboys win. It would be much more of a testament to how bad the Bengals defense is, because their defense is so abysmal that they lost another game after scoring 30 points. They are just so bad on defense that their offense can't do anything. It doesn't matter what they do. The Bengals score 40 points in a game. Doesn't matter. They still lose 44-40. It doesn't matter. Right? And so what do you do as an offense? What do you do if you Joe Burrow? What do you do? There's nothing you can do. Their team is by far the best offensive team with a sub 500 record. And any given Sunday, the Bengals should be able to beat any NFL team offensively. Right? But 2 losses this season, by the way, to the Ravens, 41-38 and 35-34. What do you do in those instances? Right? What do you do when you score 27 points but you lose? What do you do when you score 38 points but you lose? Joe Burrow throwing for 350, 400 yards. Doesn't matter. Team still loses. So, at the end of the day, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. They got to figure out what the hell's going on in their defense. If they can do that, they're a formidable team in the NFL and in their own division. But it doesn't matter. The Cowboys suck. The Cowboys beating a shitty Giants team, whoop-de-fucking-do. It means absolutely nothing that they beat a team that was supposed to be worse than them. The Bengals are a much better offensive team. They're going to light the Cowboys up. It all comes down to whether or not the Cowboys just start to find some of those offensive, movement. By the way, they also scored defensively against the Giants. I do not see that happening in this game. Joe Burrow is much better at taking care of the football. And so, yeah, I see the Bengals winning here. But it probably will be a tighter game than it should because the Cowboys defense, or because the Bengals defense is so bad.
Cam Taylor-Britt and Mike Hilton Hilton's the nickel, Taylor-Britt's the left side, weak side corner. They suck.
Yes.
They're really, really, really bad. So for me, I want to play a fun game, and it's looking at the box score. If those two combine for 15 tackles, the Cowboys score 30 points in this game. They're real soft on coverage. They don't back up the run game nearly as much as they should. Now, Hilton's the nickel, right? So the run game is not really his job. But this Cowboys team has wide receivers that are barely capable of catching the ball. So if those two have double-digit tackles, something has gone horrifically wrong. And I'm expecting to see it. I'm expecting it to be there. Because like you said, the Bengals are going to score. And what that means is that the Cowboys are going to have lots of opportunities to score as well. And even if the Bengals somehow improve on defense and bend but don't break, Cowboys might have 21 points on field goals. I mean, like you're just going to have so many opportunities with the ball. And if the secondary can't stop these wide receivers, I don't know what else you can ask of the guys.
I mean, do your fucking job. Or my French, but do your job. All right. At the end of the day, your job is to play defense. Your job is to stop people from advancing, tackle them when it's time to tackle them. And missed tackles and poor positioning when it comes to chasing down guys, taking bad angles, all of those add up to really, really bad football. At the end of the day, the Cowboys defense is injured as well. You know, they got some guys who are healthy now-ish, but they don't have DeMarcus Lawrence. They don't have a couple of their D-backs that they rely on more. Diggs is questionable this week, and realistically, the only guy who I've seen who's been putting in any work is Overshawn. He's been doing work. Other than that, I mean, the Cowboys defense is Swiss cheese too. So it really is going to come down to who cuts the cheese better.
All right. Well, on that note, last week of buys, we've got the Ravens, the Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, and Commanders on bye, and that'll do it. Everyone is all out till the end of the season, so that'll be fun. You guys won't have to suffer through any more Club 602 ads because there will be games covering the entire screen. Nowhere for me to fill in. Sean, you have anything else on week 14 here?
I do. I think that the teams that have buys right now are actually a lot of teams that really could use it. The Ravens, if they can regroup right now, they can really close out the end of this season. Tough loss in Philadelphia. But if they can close out the season, that puts them in good position going into the playoffs. Broncos, nice little buy here. You get to watch the Chiefs and Chargers, kind of see what's happening in your division and what you need to do in order to make the playoffs. Texans could definitely use a nice little break. Their O-line is terrible, of course. So anytime that they get as a break is nice. And, the Commanders, same thing. You guys can definitely use a little bit of a break. And then just kind of, gear up to close out the rest of the season because the Eagles don't seem like they're stopping. So the Commanders are going to have to win, as many games as possible to put themselves in that 5-6 spot in the NFC.
Real quick, give me your game of the week.
Oh, my game of the week is probably going to be, it should be Packers-Lions, but I'm going to go with Chargers-Chiefs. I'm gonna go with Chargers Chiefs. It's a divisional game. It's the number one team in the NFL right now as far as record goes, playing against another team that has played pretty damn well this season, and put themselves in position, to be that 5 seed if they can win out. What happens with the Chiefs? Maybe they can sneak something, but not not that realistic. But if they can win out, they can beat the Broncos out. It's going to be real nice for them.
So be on the lookout for that game on Chain Link. Chargers Chiefs will be the yelling and screaming game of the week. Sean, give me your AFC and NFC championship game matchups.
Ooh. Right now, I got you. Go ahead and give me a little bit of insight that you're about to give.
Yeah, I'm gonna run mine. Start with the NFC. It's going to be the Lions and the Eagles for me. I do really, really like what the Vikings are doing. However, they're not going to win the division. And because of that, I think they're not going to make it through the Eagles. So give me the Lions and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. And then on the other side, all chalk. Give me the Bills and the Chiefs. And I'll be cheering real hard for the Bills because I am a hater.
Honestly, I had those same that same matchup. What I would like to see realistically, though, would be, I would rather see Bills, Bills Steelers. I think that'd be a cool matchup, or Bills Ravens will be a cool matchup. I'm not giving you the satisfaction of going with the Broncos because Super Bowl or bust is not
Super
how I
Bowl,
roll.
baby.
That's
Super
not how I
Bowl.
roll, baby. He's having a phenomenal season, though. Honestly, between him, Jaden Daniels, that offensive rookie of the year is going to be a pretty tough award to win. And both teams put up 40-something points this week, so it's not like it was any less tight for me. And then on the NFC side, I definitely had the Eagles and the Vikings, but I would like to see, realistically, it would be cool if either the Commanders or and I don't want to say Packers, but if the Packers were able to make that divisional game as well, I think it puts all of those Packers fans in their feels, and they'll be loving the fact that they got another guy back there that can have quarterback for another 15 years or whatever.
All I know, Aaron Rodgers got super weird. Brett Favre got super weird. So maybe it's the Packers fans that are doing that to them. We don't know.
Or maybe it's the heavy cheese diet, dude.
Well,
it could be the super
because I
heavy
eat a
cheese
ton of
diet.
cheese too.
Yeah, I know you eat the cheese, but
all right, hey,
you
that's
were
week
born and bred
14.
All right.
Should be a good one. Thanks for joining us on Yelling and Screaming. If you haven't checked out our game Chain Link, make sure you do. All these NFL games are going to be on there. Pick one game at a time. It's easy. It's easy to win, easy to play.
Hell yeah. And, Chainlink.st.
Sean, are you playing the Pong tournament?
I am. I'm excited. Big fan of Pong. Been playing since I was in college. Actually, technically out of high school. And yeah, I forgot that I had a partner for it, and then realized that I did. So I'll be there tomorrow.
Rock and roll. Club602.com, guys. Everything we do is up there. Check it out. I'm King of Lakemore, everywhere you can find me.
At KS Flash.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys again same time next week.
Same time next week.
Take it easy.